Hello, how are you guys doing today? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I honestly don't know where most of you guys are watching this thing. I think most people that watch the channel is probably like Canadians and people back home in Nigeria. But hello, welcome back to the YouTube channel. As you can see, the lighting is not as vibrant as it normally would be. So this is basically just an indication of how this topic is gonna be. So today, or if y'all remember, during the first video on this channel, I said I was gonna be talking a little bit about everything. I'll probably be doing a lot more, you know. And the major thing that I really wanted this channel to be was more or less like a philosophical channel. I can see I've strayed away from that, but I think that's just the beauty of being human. We are not necessarily rigid in who we are, and we are always in a state of change and motion. You know, this I would like to, for every 5 videos that I post, the 6th one is always going to be something like this, you know, just to kind of like keep the balance in here. Eventually I'm probably going to change that style of posting, but for now this is what it's going to be. And yeah, today it's going to be more or less like a topic about human nature. Excuse me. Yes, a topic about human nature, you know, and the view of some of yourself, you know. I'm not too sure about most of y'all who will be watching this, you know. Yeah, thank you, by the way, again, thank you guys for watching the videos. Please like, comment, interact with them, you know. I know the videos are a bit long, but hopefully you guys that are able to like sit down, watch majority of it, even if it's not all of it, like watch majority of it. I would really like to hear you guys' thoughts and comments on things that we can often talk about. I really want to give the community, quote unquote, some level of power on what happens on the channel. Not necessarily just something where randomly we just start talking about some topic that you guys would not seem interested in. So the cat is just acting up. But yeah, I wouldn't want that kind of case where you guys are just being bored by everything that's going on. So yeah, I am just extending this branch. Like, thank you guys so much for the thought process. Well, at least you guys interacting it, watching it. We have like a couple, we're hitting like 200 and something views. Thank you guys so much for taking the time out of your day to actually even open up the video. Like, I'm eternally grateful. Thank you so much. But yeah, back to the topic for this video. Like I said, it's gonna be a video about like the self, you know, like that human connection between you, yourself, and your body. A lot of times as we grow up, most people who grow up, there's always going to be some part of our lives or some part of ourselves that we might not like, or in the worst case we severely despise that part of it. And this video is more or less just kind of like to speak on that, you know. I'm not here to give solutions, because most of the demographic, most of y'all that are watching this, I checked, 18 to 25, we're all in the same boat, you know. So I'm just here to give like insight, and if that is something that can help you guys come to a conclusion on your own, all the better, you know. So yeah, going on to that, adding on to that topic, it's just this kind of situation where the major reason why I brought this up is probably because of how I view myself, you know. It is very dynamic. One day I feel good, the other day I feel like I'm on the top of the world, the other day I feel like as if I'm about to blow my head off. Hopefully that is something that I can keep inside the video. You know, some days I feel like as if everything is over, you know, like life is not going the way it's supposed to. And then some other days I'm feeling great, I'm feeling fantastic, you know. And on some level, I truly believe that most people either feel this kind of way or to feel this certain way to some degrees. Everybody has good days, everybody has bad days. Some people have worse days, some people have the best days, and it keeps going like that. You know? So as for me, it's this kind of situation where for the longest time, I genuinely did not like who I was. Bikers. I genuinely did not like who I was simply because of one thing or the other, you know. It was not this kind of situation where even growing up, people who knew me from high school, it was this kind of case where there was always this projection, you know. There was this projection of things, of how I felt, how I was feeling, who I genuinely was. There was this lie that surrounded it, you know. And that was like really unfortunate because even at that time, things that I would have loved to enjoy, I didn't, simply because of this mindset of self. I truthfully did not see myself for who I was. I genuinely, for a period of time, I hated who I was at the core of my being because I truly did not understand why I was the way I was, you know. It was not this kind of situation where I would pile on more and more things upon myself in order to somewhat feel important. Because it's this kind of situation where I'm working as hard as I can so I don't feel the wave of emotions descend upon my mind. And at the end of the day, this ended up doing a lot more damage to my self-image than I originally anticipated. Because in high school, like I said, a lot of people, they probably would remember, or if they don't, that is fine. You know, I wasn't the best person in high school. I was truthfully somebody who was not pleasant to be around. And now that I can see that, that is somewhat understandable. Some people, they might have different views about that, and thank you guys. You know, but I genuinely felt like, yeah, I was not I was not truly who I would have loved to be at that point in time, you know. And that even extended till I even came here. I would say it was in this year where I actually actively started working on bettering myself and bettering that self-image of who I am, of who I became, and who I was becoming. Currently still changing, you know. There's always room for improvement and there's always time to learn. And that is something that truthfully helped me boost my self-image. But before I digress and move farther to the future, I'm going to talk about like the steps that I genuinely just took in order to better myself. Like I said, most of us might be feeling this kind of way, and all the better if you're not, because speaking from personal experience, it's a really shitty feeling. You know, it's this kind of situation where you either believe you are undeserving of actual love and actual care, or at the end of the day, it's this kind of situation where you are confused as to why people like your presence, or you genuinely just start to hate people simply because, yeah, granted, some people ain't worth shit, but like, goddamn, you know, it's this kind of situation where you put this burden upon yourself, and then you're wondering why your life is the way it is, you know. When you took, like, for me as a Christian, you know, and that's another thing, I really gotta be better at that, you know. I'm not necessarily the model Christian, but I'm hoping one day I get to that point where I can proudly say that, yes, I am who Jesus is, or I am somebody who basically stands with the same value as Jesus, you know. I'm working on it, you know. Sometimes I get angry, sometimes I get sadistic, sometimes I don't really like the way I'm feeling, or sometimes I generally just don't like what's happening around me. But I'm still working on that, and that is something that I hope will get better with time, you know. And Yeah, going back from that point, yeah, it's this kind of situation where I just genuinely did not like who I was as a whole. It was this kind of situation where if I looked at myself in the mirror, there was this disdain and hatred for myself. And over time, that genuinely started to shape my life. Things that I'm supposed to enjoy, I decided that, no, I don't deserve this. People who came into my life had to suffer for this, And now that I sit down and think about it, sometimes when I listen to my head, it feels good at the time, They say never make a decision when you're happy and never say things when you're angry, And those things are genuinely so true, because it was not this kind of situation where I was in certain situations with some people, and over time it was not this kind of thing where either I idolized them or I completely disregarded them, And saying that at that point in time I was not doing the best I could do is an understatement. In some cases, I would take advantage of certain people, Not take advantage in a weird way. It was more or less just understanding how they moved and using that against them. This thing might come back to bite me in the ass for all the things I'm saying, but at this point in time, I don't give a fuck. Life is genuinely beautiful, and I do not want to continue to live my life in this sadistic wormhole of sadness, of hatred and anger, And a lot of people, even if they might not say it, are currently living in that kind of lifestyle. They either feel dejected about the current state of their life, or they look around and they see people who are excelling. Some cases, some people are younger, some cases, some people are the same age, and it causes them to feel this heavy set of either depression or a burden upon their mind, like, oh dang, this person is doing this, why can't I? And that is not the way you are supposed to be looking at life, The thing is, we're all not born the same. That's the thing. Most of us were born in very different ways. Some of us are born in the morning, some are born on January 13th, some of us are born in 2037, all the way down there, But some of us are just people who are born prematurely, who are born with birth defects, who are born with one thing or the other, So not everybody is the same. And not everybody has the same destiny in this life, A big thing in Christianity is that God already knows how our lives are going to be. But a lot of people have this misconception of like, oh, it doesn't matter, where they have this nihilistic view upon life, or this absurdist view upon life, And that is now where a lot of people have this gruntled mindset about like religion and things like that. I'm not saying you have to go out there in the streets and praise the Lord, or go bow down in Mecca and become a Muslim. No, I'm not saying that. For me, it's just because, like I said, everybody is different. Some people are religious, some people are not religious. I'm not trying to be this kind of person where if like you have to turn into Christ. If you do, I'll be very happy, That is perfect. If you don't, as long as you're living your life not evil and you're doing good, I don't all the best to you, So for me, it's not this kind of situation where I leave everything just to be like, oh, of course it's my story, whatever, And I see a lot of people, they do that. They have this either nihilistic view of like, oh, nothing matters, so I'm just gonna live my life like that. But the thing is, the moment you are here and you are building bonds and connections with people, life does matter, Like some people, they forget that, and that's sad. And for a while, I forgot that. For other reasons, or just certain situations I was in, I forgot that life was worth living. I forgot that the trees that are outside are ridiculously beautiful. I forgot about flowers. I forgot about like bees. I forgot about like food. I forgot about the air. I forgot about the sun. Everything feels so monotone, like as if there's no life or light in it, and it's terrible. That is something that a lot of people are facing every single day. Some people are incredibly depressed, they are dealing with anxiety, or they're dealing with one other mental health crisis or the other. And that is the duality of man. We can always be in a good situation, or we could spin around and everything is in is in a shittier situation than it started. It can always get worse. But a lot of times most people forget they can always get better. So a major turning point for me was when I met certain people. Certain people had to sit me down, had to let me know, like, yo, bro, people actually care about you. A lot of times most people have this, or personally I had this view, and if you can relate, then that's good, where it was like, oh no, but like I don't care for my life, and if I died I'll be fine as long as somebody else was alive. Most people had this severe disregard for their own life, or personally, and let me not say most, I had this disregard for my life. It was not this kind of situation where I truthfully, and a lot of people might have taken strength from that. They say, oh, Josh is so fearless, or Josh is not scared. But meanwhile, it was just this kind of thing. I did not care if I lived or died. And that's not a good feeling. Everything feels numb. Your chest gets tighter. You can't breathe, and even if you can, it feels like as if you're drowning in air. And nothing ever feels the same. But I'm like at least here to tell you that it is good. It wasn't easy to even get to this point, and there are still certain things that still mess with me, but I'm telling you, it is good. Some days I might be bad, or some days I'll be like, oh dang, I don't want to be here right now. I just want to be at home, holed up in my bed. But then there's like, I have to kind of remind you myself. And the thing is, you have to work for it. And I think that's a lot of that's now where the thing now causes a lot of people to backtrack. Because as human beings, most of us are inherently lazy. Most of us would much rather have, if we had access to everything we wanted, most of us would not even want to do anything else. And that is just human nature. There's no anything wrong in that. That is just who we are as people. So when people now need that extra work, it's a little bit hard to even get it started or even get the ball rolling, because most people would not want to do the extra work. And you kind of have to. You kind of have to. It's not gonna be easy, because nothing good ever comes easy. There will be times where you scream to the heavens about, oh, I curse you, God. Why have you made me the way I am? Why is everybody in such a better situation than I am? What did they do to deserve it? And even to this day, I don't have an answer for that, But I will not allow myself to be dragged by my own insecurities to stop me from becoming something better. I won't allow it. And you shouldn't too. You shouldn't. It's not this kind of situation where you are so tired. And believe me, I have been so tired. You know? It was not this kind of situation where I think I used that a lot. it was this kind of case where I wanted nothing to do with life, you know. I didn't care if I died. I didn't care if I walked outside today and somebody stabbed me and I bled out upon the ground. I didn't care if I was, you know, on a bus and let's say, okay, yes, a trailer filled with logs decided to just, like, I don't know how that would have happened, you know, fall upon the bus and next thing you know, we'll crash and it explodes and we're gone. But I had to start looking at things for the beauty that they are, you know. I had to be grateful for the kind of like state I am in, you know. I'm not homeless. Like right now I can go get some food. I don't need to cook anything. I can legit just go outside, grab some food or order some food from somewhere, you know. I have clothes on my back. And those are the three things that every human being needs in order to be living, you know, quote unquote. Some people, they might have food, they might have a stable supply of food, but they ain't got no house. Their clothes are ratty. Some people have some clothes, you know, but they don't know where their next meal is gonna be. Some people have a house, but they're out here stressing because they're worried about, oh damn, will I even be able to pay my electric bill? And I'm in a better situation than all these people, you know? And this is not just to be like, oh, I'm better than them. No. I'm objectively in a better situation than these people, you know? But I felt so bad. When you now see certain people where, even if they're not happy, I am still in a better situation than most of these people. I live in like a really crazy area. I am still in a better situation than most of these people. Like I can afford to say, oh dang, this thing is worth $200. Okay, I'ma get it, you know. I'm not like big balling, you know. I'm not Musk or like freaking Bill Gates or whatever, or like the Kardashians, but at the very least, you know, I can, within my means, I can get what I want without having to feel like as if, oh damn, will I be able to eat tomorrow, or will I be able to eat next week, or am I really gonna do this, you know? And once I started looking at life like that, I started being grateful. When I felt down and low, I started being grateful because I was like, yo, I'm in a better situation than this guy, and this guy is still making it work. Some of y'all are in a better situation than what I just described, but y'all still feel like life is not going the way it's supposed to. And the thing that I just want to say is this. Time will come, and if it doesn't, that is okay. This might sound a little bit like, oh, then what the fuck was the spiel about, you know? But that's truly what it is. That is truly what it is. Life will come, and you experience all the things you wish to experience, or you won't. That shouldn't stop you from going outside, smelling the trees or the flowers. I mean, looking at the trees, going to a park, talking to a loved one, finding somebody who cares about you. That should not stop you from that, you know? Because the moment you stop feeling like that, that is when you've lost. That is when you've lost. I see myself in a very different situation in the next couple of years. No, not now. I see myself in a very different situation in the next couple of years. If I'm not there in the next couple of years, that's okay. That is A-okay. That is okay. You know, sometimes we lose sight of how beautiful the flowers are simply because the vase broke. You know, and that is the truth. Some people only like that outside look of things. They never actually look at what is actually there or what is really worth. We place unimaginable value, but we place a lot of monetary value on certain things that is like, okay, whatever, you know. But the true things that matter, we take it for granted simply because we have an abundance of it. You know? So please. Self is the first thing. Love truly goes a long way. Certain people might not feel this way, and there's always going to be a group of people who would not accept this. That's okay, you know. What can you do? I'm not the main demographic for everybody on earth, you know. Do I look a little bit good, you know? But it's like I'm not here to be no freaking guidance coach or whatever. I'm just a guy, you know. Like, if I died today, give it a week, or give it a couple of months, give it a year. Most people will either forget about me, or it'll be this kind of situation where it's like, okay, dang, if you all remember me, it's more of like, yeah, he's gone though, you know. So that is why I'm like, yo, this life is pretty nice, you know. So don't waste it on being sad, and this is not necessarily like a motivation. Like, oh, get out of your bed and go do. Like, bro, that's your life, you know. If you want to do it, cool. If you don't want to do it, cool. Like, there's nothing I can't do. Like, I'm not gonna be reaching into the camera and bitch slapping some of you. Like, go outside, go do some shit. You know, I'm not gonna do that. Like, at the end of the day, self-improvement is up to you. If you want to be better, that's cool. If you don't want to be better and you want to keep going down the lifestyle you're currently going, if it's not the best, that's cool too. You know, like, it will only not be cool if you're hurting other people in the process, you know. But that's not where the fucked up thing is that if you have people in your life that actually care about you, you being the way you are is messing with other people. So it really is not that cool. But like I said, there ain't really anything I can do, you know? Yeah. Trust in yourself, you know? And don't listen to the negative side of things. You can always be better, and you can always try to be better. But never stop. Always keep going. And one day, you look around and realize you are better. You just need to look inward and find it for yourself. Okay? So we're just gonna do a few breathing exercises, you know. So take a deep breath through your nose. Let it fill your lungs, you know. Close your eyes. Let it be free. Do it a couple of times, you know, however much you need. Some people got huge lungs, so they only need it like once or twice, but some people don't have as much lung capacity as some of us. So I hope you guys are doing better, and I hope this was able to help somebody out there, you know. We really need to be here for ourselves, you know, because not only is there war, famine, hatred around the world, there's also joy, love, peace. Like, all these things exist in tandem with the bad, you know. Don't allow the bad to overtake your life. You need your duality to live a life that is true and good. And you'll one day get there, you know. So thank you for staying. If you stayed all the way to this point, thank you so much. And hopefully we can do this a lot more. I'm not just gonna stick to like the regular schmegular videos with my co-host. The next video is probably gonna be out in the next couple of days. Still just trying to brainstorm a lot of ideas, you know, but yeah. Thank you for staying, you know. I'll try my best to do this a lot more, depending on what you guys want, you know. But thank you very much for staying here and listening, and I hope to see you guys in the next video, or maybe the next comedic one. This is probably going to be another series that I'm going to be doing in tandem, but yeah, nice. Thank you. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and I hope I'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.